Hello, my name is Israel Peña. This is my project Play, and welcome to my first Quantiloop tutorial. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, well, I already have it here, but it's plug my interface, the Behringer UMC 404 HD, and this is my DIY foot switch. It's a little broken at the moment, but it still works. And this launch control, they're all plugged to this USB hub, which is connected to the iPad. So for this first video, I want to show you how to use Quantiloop in AUM or I don't know what the right pronunciation is. If you want to tell me, you can leave that in the comment. You can hit me up in my Instagram. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do is load Quantiloop. That is in the inner app audio. We go all the way back down to the queue, and then I'm going to use main out. Then I'm going to open Quantiloop, and I already have something here loaded up. So I'm going to use an empty one. As when you open it, like the first thing I'd like to do, if I'm not going to use a set tempo, is to enable force link tempo, and so I'm not constricted to the set tempo. Let's open the input one here, and I'm going to eject all the inputs that you have here. So let's click on input, and you can choose a physical input, but I like to manage all my inputs inside or AUM. So I'm going to use this. In recent, I have like the ones that I've been using recently. I'm going to use port 1 from AUM, and let's go back to AUM. I'm going to choose, I'm not going to loop my microphone. That's the first input. I'm going to use this piezo mic connected to the input 2 in my interface to loop. So I'm going to choose input 2. And then here you go to IAA or audible output, choose 1, and now the piezo is sent to Quantiloop. So then I want to also loop Bbot for nice bass sound. But I want that to loop only to track 2 in Quantiloop. Sorry about that. So if I want to do that, I need to set another port from AUM. So I'm going to tell Quantiloop to only record that on track 2 or looper 2. If you see here, port 1 from AUM can be recorded in all 4 loopers, and you can also like choose if you want to monitor that to hear that or not, and you also control the gain there. You can also add an effects here, but it's just one, and if we do that instead in AUM, we can choose as many as we want, and that's why I like to use Quantiloop inside AUM. So yeah, so right now Bbot is not being sent to Quantiloop, so we want to use to select output 2 that, and we're all set basically. Let's use another one. Let's use a piano too, and we're going to send that to all the loopers, so all the tracks inside Quantiloop. So let's use port 1 in there. Another thing you can do in Quantiloop is choose, as you probably know this if you've seen the tutorials from the developer, you can choose effects that you can turn on and off. In this case, I'm going to choose a reverb that I can turn on and off. but it's only going to affect input 1. So let's turn it on, and you can hear it in the piezo. You can also hear it in the piano, but you don't hear it in bebop because that is imported. That's like the basic way I set up a Quantiloop inside AUM. Now, let me show you real quick how I map the controllers. I have this foot switch, broken at the moment, foot switch that I made, and with an Arduino board. And I already have all these 4 switches mapped to track 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Quantiloop. This one switches on and off the dub mode so I can stop tracks without double clicking them. And I have I thought I had at least, yeah, this reverse. Yes, this doesn't work and this doesn't work obviously because there's no switch there, but this switch is not working at the moment. So this turns the effects, the first input effect, on and off, and this one doesn't do anything. Yes, transposes, plays the transpose and the reverse. And with this button I have the start and stop. So to do that you have to click here and in. And since my Arduino foot switch sends only through channel 15, and I didn't make a way to assign the channel, so I've chosen channel 15 there. You have to enable MIDI control here, and then assign the controls that you want. So I already have track there assigned, but if you don't have one, you can click here on this is to control rec, play, dub over dub actually, and stop and clear for track 1. You click on it and then you click on learn. You press the control that you want. Like if I press this one, it would change the CC that is controlling that. So let's assign it to this switch, and then click and save, and you're set. So then you can assign a lot of actions. For example, I have the stop start button assigned to this launchpad. So that's how you can assign controllers to Quantiloop. That way I can, focus everything in AUM and bebop. So let's say I'm gonna start a rhythm here. But I want to turn it into that. Since I want that to only affect piezo, I don't want it to affect the piezo and the piano. I'm going to assign it to the track in AUM. So yeah, and then I'm going to use my noise box. And let's add a compressor there too. Compressor, not delay. Compressor. Okay, so let's, for example, I can start with. This one, yeah, that adds the reverb. Okay, so that's the basic setup of Quantiloop in AUM, but I want to show you something more. I want to show you how to add sends to each individual track in Quantiloop. So yeah, stick around for that. Now I want to show you how you can add each individual output from each track from Quantiloop. So you can add sends or other effects, specific effects to each track. So let me first open the individual track output for track 1, then for track 2, then for track 3, and then for track 4. I'm going to record something to track 1. But now what this does is that you have 2 tracks in AUM generating the same audio, so that could create phasing or phase problems. So what I'm going to do is just disable the output from each of the tracks, and since we're going to use this as a send, we can where is that? Let me add a delay to mix bus A. I'm going to use RE1. Let's add flutter and wow. Put the mix to 100 because it's going to be a send, and BPM sync that so we can have 8 quarter notes and 1/3. And then let me stop that click thingy, and then we add to each of the individual output track outputs. We're going to add the bus send to bus A. I'm going to map the send amount to the launch control knobs. So first let's check that launch control is selected, and then click on send amount, click on learn, and move the knob, and that's it. And the same thing for track 2. Send amount, learn, move the knob, send amount, learn, move the knob, and one more time, send amount, learn, move the knob. So I have this 4 knobs into that, so let me record. Let me add another one. Let's add a distortion effect here. Grind. Motor pricing. So now let's map it to Launchpad. Okay. One more thing, I like to add the output from the FX, send them to just one mix bus. In this case, I'm going to use mix bus C, and that mix bus is going to run through another looper. Very good effect. So Now, if you wanted to add a specific effects to one track, the easiest way to do it is just in these track effects. Like let's add the perforator effect to that, and that's going to, like, the way it's set up, it says combine output, so it's going to send it to all the tracks are going to be affected by perforator, but you can also choose a specific track to apply the effect to. And you can also use do that in AUM. You can add one. The advantage of doing it in Quantiloop is that you can turn this effect on and off. I mapped it to turn that effect on and off. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you excuse me, I'm going to jump a little bit with the configuration I just made in Quantiloop, AUM in Quantiloop. I'm just going to have fun. So if you learned something from this video, please consider subscribing to this channel, hitting the like button as well. You can also follow me Instagram. I also have a play page in Facebook, so you can also like that if you want to. Also check out my music. I just released an EP that was produced entirely in the iPad. All the links will be in the description. So thank you very much for watching.